sinister, and I feel for those people that are put into those positions. It must be hell to live with that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, tell us about this. Tell us about the straw man.
Yeah, what happens is when people differentiate from the official fiction of the event, as I refer to it, the official fiction, is they find themselves attacked by either the government directly or through the media or through a magazine that might be connected to a governmental official. And the straw man is a type of rhetoric where an individual creates an easily defeated point of view or a bogus claim, which is designed to steer the debate into areas where the credibility of the person's statements can be easily attacked. And this is what oftentimes happens, where someone would be pushed into agreeing with something ridiculous, such as they were using holograms or laser beams to project the airplanes going into the towers and all of that business, which is complete nonsense.
Okay.
And if they can't attack them through that straw man technique, we oftentimes find also what is known as an ad hominem attack. And this is where a person will use an emotional type of an attack, calling them crazy, lunatic, a conspiracy theorist, use the pejorative phrase.
Sure.
And they attack or attempt to attack their credibility in this way as well. In the case of 9/11, again, we had a magazine called Popular Mechanics, which was tied into the brother or a cousin of one of the government officials.
Michael Chertoff.
Yeah, Chertoff, right, was the editor of the magazine, and so they put out this attack piece on 9/11, the truth movement associated with 9/11, and they had undergone the straw man, the ad hominem attacks in their hit piece that they put out, which was a cover story in one of their issues.
How about the all the surveillance cameras all over the place? I mean, this is something that we should be able to turn to in order to get evidence of what has happened on the events. What happens with the surveillance cameras?
Yeah, in the case of the Oklahoma City bombing, the surveillance cameras that were all downtown in this Oklahoma City location were not showing the proper people on them, so they had become mysteriously unavailable. In the case of the assassination of Princess Diana, we found that all of the surveillance cameras in that tunnel, in the Ponte Alma tunnel, were all turned off and turned to the wall away from the road inside the tunnel. So we find that if they show the wrong evidence, that it's unavailable or it's shrouded in national security is put upon it, we can't show it for that reason, or it got lost someplace or whatever. Or if it does happen to show the correct things, it's shown on the media continuously. And oftentimes we never get this evidence because it usually shows the truth of what happened. Like in the case of the Oklahoma City bombing, they wanted to say that it was Timothy McVeigh alone, when in fact it showed him with a series of Middle Eastern appearing people who obviously did not play into the official fiction of that attack.
Yeah, so that's and when stuff works, we are handed from security cameras in regards to 9/11. What was it? We were handed like five frames from the when Flight 77 hit Pentagon or something like that, and that doesn't show a plane at all.
Yeah. And in that case, it was just a complete waste of everybody's time to even examine those photographs, because the resolution was dialed down on them to the point where they just obscured most of anything that was there to begin with. And I'm a graphic artist before I became a full-time research journalist, so I'm very good with Photoshop, and I attempted to do all of the filtering and all the close examination of these 5 frames, and it just was impossible because they were altered before they were released.
Yep, so there we go. One thing that you also brought up is the as soon, after the attack has taken place, the real attack, the site often is locked down, and I kind of wanted to connect this also with the fact that evidence have been, in regards to 9/11, evidence was kind of, this is a crime scene, and evidence have been taken away from the crime scene before investigation has been taken place in regards to the steel beams, for example, in the World Trade Center. And I guess we could say the same in regards to the Oklahoma building, where they just covered it up with cement, right?
Yeah, that's unfortunate behavior, and it's it's a crime unto itself to obstruct justice. But we don't see this happening where these people are charged with obstruction for shipping the steel beams off to China, for example, the 9/11 towers. And in the case of these situations, what happens is you will have the crime scene locked down by guards that are there 24/7 and who will not let any independent researcher or investigator onto that site. And the purpose of this is to control the story. Because if you have people snooping around with cameras and recording equipment and other ways of documenting the scene, you can't control those people once they leave that area. And so the easiest way to deal with them is to just not allow them access of any kind to begin with.
So it's total lockdown, and no releasing of video or surveillance tapes. And again, all these things points to the fact that that these people have something to cover up. There's a problem with the story, and if they were to release some of this, it wouldn't add up.
That's correct. And anybody listening to this interview, if you doubt that anything that Henrik and I are talking about right now is in fact the case, take the evidence and the information that I provide in this article and go look at 9/11, or go look at Oklahoma City or the London bombing, and just see how these 17 points that I make, which all false flag attacks have in common.
Mm.
And you'll find that every one of those events do fit into this scheme that I outlay in these 17 points.
Yeah, absolutely. And these are very important, things to be aware of in regards to either if we have, another big terrorist attack, or in the scenario of actually being able to I guess, prevent one, or at least inform people about one, so they are not in the vicinity of this area or whatever. And this is something that actually could save people's lives here. So this is important stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. You and I have a very close friend in common, Freeman Fly,
Mm-hmm.
and he has recently talked about October 13th, 2007, and how that is an important anniversary and a potential date for a false flag attack in this country, as it happens to be the 700th anniversary of the Knights Templar Purge from France.
Yeah.
And because of the symbolism that these people embed into these events, and because of their obsession with anniversaries and events that must take place on certain days for certain reasons, this does appear to be a target date. And then we begin to ask ourselves, well, if that's the date, then what are they going to try to pull off on that particular date?
Sure.
And we're finding in the media right now, all over these TV shows that are on, that are showing suitcase nuclear bombs going off in America. And this is what I believe to be the predictive television programming or preparation of the audience for a future false flag event, to embed into their subconscious the idea that this must take place, and when you see it, you won't be so surprised, that sort of thing.
Sure.
And so it appears that that date may have some significance to this issue.
I'm sitting right here now reading a thread from a forum called vaken.se, and this is regarding actually a potential, I guess, false flag operation, or in regards to the drills that we talked about earlier, I should say, because something called Swedish Emergency Management Agency, or SEMA, are going to actually hold drills in the Stockholm area between April 24th and 26th. So this again might be, it might be nothing. That's what we hope for, that nothing happens. But if it does, that this might be a heads up to something potential going on, because there seems to be, as we talked about earlier, drills going on simultaneously, and if something goes wrong, I guess they can always, divert it and say that it was nothing more than a drill, so nothing serious had taken place, and nothing, further will come out of that situation. But again, just to inform people, I'm going to link up this thread so people can read about it who are concerned. All the information about the event is in here, but I just wanted to mention that as a this is a potential threat here. So.
Yeah, another thing that is important to mention here is that when people like yourself have people like me come on to your show and talk about the possibility of a false flag event happening in the very near future, it may be the very fact that you put this interview